Well, this is my first live stream video, and I didn't prepare for it. Though it's necessary I do it myself, but to just accept how I present myself. My name is Oken. That's my TATAFO name for TATAFO Afrika. Well, I'm a system engineer by profession. I studied in school. That's why I graduated with. I'm a Christian on paper. Several things. I'm expecting people to call, to comment, ask questions, but I'll answer questions that people have asked me in time past. I'll make it known here. My purpose for setting up my channel with this is I wanted an avenue to express myself, to express those things that I love doing. There are certain things that I love doing that I just believe that having a YouTube channel, I could use it to express it, to teach people, to let my voice to be heard. That's one of the reasons why I set up TATAFO Afrika. It's not just me. You'll be seeing a lot of people in TATAFO Afrika, mostly female. Well, the TATAFO Afrika, it's all about talks. It's all about talks. It's all about fashion. It's all about food. It's about politics, religion, entertainment, fashion designs. These are the things I have interest in, and that's why I set up TATAFO Afrika, and that's all it's all about. It's all about culture. Culture, we all know, it's about the way of life, and these things I've mentioned circles around culture. If you can see from the banner, it has a cultural kind of design. It's how I designed it to have that cultural feeling of Africa, to showcase Africa's culture. That's why I actually set up TATAFO Afrika, and at the same time to showcase those things I love doing. One of those, besides being an engineer, an IT engineer working in the IT sector, I love cooking. Cooking is one of my hobbies, one of those areas that I love. I enjoy so much. Anything you can do for hours without being stressed, I think it's where one has passion in. So that's where I feel I have passion in cooking. I love cooking. I can one of those things I enjoy doing is cooking for people. I like when people are around me and I have to serve them, cook for them. It's one of those things I love doing. Well, in TATAFO Afrika, we're going to have a lot of talks ranging from different things, talks on general talk, conversations, talking about issues about life. You hear my own opinion and people's opinion about issues about life. Well, what guides me as a person? There are certain things that guide me as a person, and those things that guide me as a person. There are actually three things that guide me as a person. There are three, namely, in anything I do, in my talk, in my actions, in my inactions, in my thoughts, what guides me as a person is truth, justice, and fairness. That's what drives me as a person. In anything I do, I try to ensure that truth, justice, and fairness, it's there. And if you discover that that's the lifestyle, if you were to ask me, Christ followed. I don't see myself as a Christian. I'm not a Christian because I see Christian as a name in quotes, is a nickname by people who saw people following the pattern of life of Christ. And the pattern of Christ circled around truth, justice, and fairness. And truth, justice, and fairness, I believe, is what God is enshrined in. So whoever practices or lives the life, does things in line with that, in those things, truth, justice, and fairness, that person is actually practicing. To express myself further, to make my point. Truth, justice, and fairness was in the life of Christ. I'll give you an example. Yeah, talking about the religious aspect right now. Give an example. Remember the issue of the lady who committed adultery. The lady who committed adultery, if you were to ask me, we all know how the story came, how the story is. People brought lady who committed adultery in front of Jesus Christ, and they said that in the time of Moses, they were allowed to stone the woman to death, and that was the law then. And you can see that the distance between the time of Moses and the time of Christ, will I say, centuries apart. So Jesus Christ was there, writing on the floor, and he stood up and said that if any of you is without sin, be the first to cast a stone. If you were to ask me, truth, justice, and fairness was in those statements. If you were to analyze that statement, let's analyze it. Yeah, is it true that the woman committed adultery? Yes, she committed adultery. Well, is it fair that she should be stoned to death? Well, I don't think she should. Why? Because no one commits adultery with him or herself. The person needs someone of the opposite sex to commit adultery. So if you're going to stone this lady to death because she committed adultery, it is equally fair to stone the man who she committed adultery with. So it's not fair stoning just the lady because she committed adultery. You understand? So that's in terms of fairness. Then he said, if any of you is without sin, be the first to cast a stone. So meaning that those who want to stone her to death, are you justifying your action stoning her to death when you also have sin in your own life? You can see it's all about truth, justice, and fairness in life. So from the time of Christ, he spoke to the conscience of men. The conscience of men were being spoken to. So that's what I believe drives man, that should be driving man as a person, both in your talk, in your actions, in your thoughts, in anything you're doing. Let that just be what will guide you as a person. Well, let me tell you a second example. Like the time they brought Christ, they brought someone. Christ healed someone on the Sabbath day, and during the Sabbath day, it's usually kept holy. Kept holy in the sense that you're not allowed to walk, not allowed to do anything. And in the time of Moses, you're allowed to keep that Sabbath day. And if you are caught doing anything on that Sabbath day, you're being stoned to death. So Jesus Christ healed someone on the Sabbath day, and they came to him and they wanted to trap him and also stone him to death. So Jesus Christ stood up and said that told them, spoke to their conscience. If you were to ask me, he spoke to their conscience and told them that if you have 100 sheep and one of them gets missing in your farmstead, will you not leave the 99 in your farmstead and go and look for the missing sheep? You can see he spoke to their conscience, because there is nobody that will have 100 sheep in his farm. One gets missing and he won't leave the 99 and go and look for the one that is missing. So you can see, and even if it's happening on the Sabbath day, or that incident happened on the Sabbath day, your sheep is missing on the Sabbath day, of course you're going to leave your 99 sheep and go and look for the one that is missing. So you can see that Christ spoke to the conscience of men when he was alive, and those who followed the pattern of Christ in that line were called Christians. And it is people who saw people practicing that pattern of Christ that called them Christians. So you can see that the word Christian was more like a nickname given to people that practice the pattern of Christ. So, well, that's why I said that I'm not a Christian. I'm a Christian on paper. I'm a Christian on paper in the sense that there are documents you sign, you fill, and you're requested to state your religion. If you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, or a traditionalist. Yes, like I'm on paper, I will take that. So, in terms of religion, I don't see myself as a Christian. These are the things that guides me as a person: truth, justice, and fairness. And God, the Almighty One, the Creator of heaven and earth, is enshrined in that. So, no matter who you are, what religion, what race, anything that you are practicing, what you are, whoever you are, male, whatever gender you are, if you're practicing truth, justice, and fairness in anything you are doing, then you are practicing the pattern of Christ. So, and TATAFO, it's all about that. TATAFO is circling around truth, justice, and fairness. We will be analyzing issues, talking about issues about life that circles around just these three things, using these three things to analyze the issues of life. Then you'll be there to judge. I would like to have your comments. People have different opinions. Why I'm saying this is because there was something that happened during I think some weeks ago in my office. I was in one of my colleagues' office, and they were having a discussion about something. A lady was pregnant for a man while they were in university, for instance. Yeah, for while they were in university, in school. She didn't tell the man that she was pregnant. After 17 years, they had left school. The man had started his life. He had married. He had even had children. His wife was pregnant. After 17 years, the woman gave birth. The lady he had an affair with while they were in school gave birth to a child. After 17 years, the man didn't know. So you know how this thing is. The child started getting questions. Who's your father? How to know your father? So that I know that really torments children as a child. So he wanted to know who his father was. So he kept pestering the mother that I need to know my father. I need to take me to my father. So the mother summoned up the courage to look for the father. And immediately the mother saw the man, told the man that he has a child for over 17 years ago. The man didn't believe her. What happened? She now brought the child to the father, and immediately the man saw the child. He didn't need any DNA test to actually be convinced that this was his child. He accepted that the child was his. But coincidentally, while that was happening, his wife, which he married, was pregnant. She was pregnant for a child. So after delivery of the child, the man didn't know how he was going to confront the wife, to tell the wife about the incident. So time passed. We'll have it. He told the wife that, look, 17 years ago, I had an affair with a lady, and she had a child for me, and this is the child here. The wife was mad. She was very, very crazy. She didn't believe. She didn't want to hear. So the man was disappointed. So what did he do? He took the child to live with his mother, and there was something that happened. His wife, one night, because she was always nagging. Never she heard that the man had a child. They didn't want the man to bring the child to the home. It just does, that's just the typical, Nollywood scene. So one night the woman told that he was having a discussion with the husband, and she told the husband that, look, if the child is to come here, let's just poison the child and just, live our lives together. When the man heard this, man, he took precaution. So, but to cut long story short, people were having this argument in the office. People, the ladies had different um, um, belief, arguing differently. Some were in support of the woman that whatever her actions is justifiable, this and that. Yes, I understand people get mad over such kind of incidents, but no one knows how life is. Life is very, very funny. No one knows what tomorrow will bring for anybody. So right there during the discussion, and I asked them that, assuming that this child in question, as this woman has treated this child this way, not wanting the child to be part of the home, if this child, for instance, now becomes, let's say, maybe an assistant to a governor, or maybe becomes a governor, becomes someone high in the society, would that woman now come and start wanting that child to be her child? Will she now start saying, oh, hey, my son, this and that, because she's seen that the child has grown to be something in life? The child that she rejected, the man that gave birth to a child to another lady 17 years ago, will she now start accepting the child when she didn't want the child to live with them? So if she does so, it's hypocrisy. You understand? So it's not. So why I'm saying this is that let our actions be guided. Let our speech be guided with truth, justice, and fairness. That way, we will not find ourselves being impartial. We will not find ourselves being hypocrites. Because assuming this child, which was born 17 years ago, is something in life, the woman will want to associate herself with the child. You understand me? So why not just act? I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult accepting a child from nowhere into the home, but no one knows what the future too also holds. No one knows. So, and also, if you were to look at it from other side of you, it's not really who gives birth to a child that is the father. There are cases whereby people give birth to children and they abandon the children. The children are being raised with totally strangers. So the point I'm trying to make is this: it's not really actually who is a father or a mother to a child by blood, but who takes the responsibility in taking care of that child as a mother, as a father. That's the true owner of that child, if you were to ask me. So you discover that there are children who are being raised by total strangers, who are being fathered and mothered by people who are not their father or mother by blood, and they take those people as their parents. So you can see it's the responsibility to do those things as a mother or a father that makes you say that this is your child. So that's just an example of. So there are a lot of other conversations we'll be having with people, guests that will be coming to TATAFO Afrika. We'll be talking a wide range of things. We'll be eating and talking, because it's all about expression. I enjoy cooking, so don't be surprised. I believe you see some contents of me in the kitchen cooking. It's what I love doing. So it's like I said earlier, the channel was created to express my views, express myself, to be happy. One thing in this life I always want to always be is to be happy. Do things that will make me happy. Just live my life. That's justice. Being guided by truth, justice, and fairness. Yeah, so I don't know what to actually name this live stream. Either truth, justice, and fairness, but really, I'm just here to actually explain what we are all about, what TATAFO is all about, what we are into, what guides us as a content creator, what guides me as a content creator, because it's not just going to be only me. There will be other people that will be joining me. You can see on the banner of my of the channel, it's more African. It's it's more feminine, because my interaction will be with most times with the opposite sex, conversation with the opposite sex, to get their views, to get their to see how they see things, and we'll also be talking about politics too, politics of the world, Nigerian politics. There are a lot of things that are happening in the political scene that, if you look at it, it's not fair. Truth is not being guided by truth. There's no justice in it. So whatever, you know, especially, yes, the election has come and gone. People say the mandate was stolen from one party and given to another person. You know, and we are living in this country, and I don't know if we is it fair, is it true, what can we do about it. These are things we will be discussing, with people, with a conversation with people. I love arts, I love fashion, I used to be an artist. Not that I used to be. I loved art while I was in school, in secondary school. I used to paint, I used to draw, with pencils, with colors. Um, I'm good with colors. I love designs. I appreciate good designs. So, and in TATAFO Afrika, we also be on tours, we also be on um, vacations to see other people's culture, travel to see how other, because they say traveling it's a way of learning. So in TATAFO Afrika, we will be doing traveling to different locations to actually see how other people's cultures are, kind of things that they do in terms of food, in terms of like I said, culture is about the way of life of people, different locations. So we'll be having videos, having interactions with people um, in that. TATAFO, why did I give it TATAFO Africa? Well, I don't know. I think the name just came into my mind. I was looking for a name for the channel. Came into my mind. TATAFO. It's all about talk. It's all about expression. It's all about, you know, um, giving your opinion, your views towards things. The name just came into my mind, and I had to put up some things together to form a banner, from what you're seeing on the channel. My hobbies also, I enjoy swimming. I enjoy swimming. Swimming is one of those hobbies I also enjoy doing. I like people being around me. I enjoy people being cooking for people. Yeah, I love entertaining people. I like when I mean entertaining, I don't mean singing. I'm not a very good singer. I'm not a good singer. That's not my line. But I think the word is hospitality. I love, you know, being hospitable to people. I like people around me to be hospitable. And I like cooking, cook food, cooking for them. It's also it's to show hospitality. We'll also be doing vlogs, video blogs of maybe of things generally, of cultures, people's cultures, locations, um, arts, everything, just anything, just wherever I am. I also love children. I love children a lot. I love children. So we have pictures, funny videos of children. My hobbies, funny enough, there are certain things that I actually love doing. In addition to things I've just mentioned, I actually love doing, which are they might sound very strange to your ears. Well, um, I love watching construction work, ongoing construction work. I can stay for hours where construction work is ongoing and just see how bricks, cranes, lifting, I don't mean the kind of Nigerian construction where um, they lay one block for 1 week. I mean progressive construction. You see, each every hour you're seeing movement, you're seeing things happening. I love construction, sky rise when especially when they are building sky rise building. When you see, I love construction. I love watching. You watch Discovery Channel or National Geographic channels where they do engineering. Um, mega engineering or so, where you see, yeah, I love watching that. In reality, I love watching that. And I also I love watching children. I love what's what kids. Yeah, I love. It's one of those things too. I love doing. I could stay hours and be staring at kids the way they play. Just that world, for me, from like not crying babies per se, but from like 2 months or 3 months to like five. That world, the way they behave, the way they reason, the way they talk. You know, I enjoy being around kids, taking care of kids. I love that. I like kids. Um, and I believe in terms of gender. They say gender equality. I don't believe in gender equality. Please don't get me wrong. But I believe in gender equity. Gender equity. I believe there should be. It's fair. Equity is fairness. You can a man and a woman cannot be equal. I don't think they can be equal. A man and a woman can be equal. Let's be realistic about it. A man and a woman can be equal, but it is fair equity, to treat a woman fairly. You know, treat people fairly. Equity. So if like having someone who is tall and someone who is short and they want to look over a fence, the person who is tall doesn't need something to stand on to look over a fence, but the one who is short needs something to stand. So it is fair to give someone who is short something to stand on to look over a same fence, the same person who is tall to look at. You understand? So that's just how it is. So it's just augmenting, complementing, or so if you want to, whichever way you're going to say it, complementing each other in their weaknesses. Tolerating people on their weaknesses. That's what I mean by equity. So but you are, all fingers are not equal, so you can't be equal. So you can't term yourself equal with anybody. But in terms of equity, fairness, fairness is very important. You need to show fairness in anything you're doing. That's why I believe in fairness, equity, fairness. Um, what else will I talk about? I like music. I love cultural music. I love cultural music, dancing, native dancings. I love native food too. Like I said, I love cooking. I love. I, I venture into cooking things new, tasting, having new recipes. Adventurous in getting new recipes. I enjoy that, trying new things. I'm adventurous about that. I love new things. I like trying out new things. And what other thing? What other thing? What other thing? Music. In terms of music, you will see, native music, dances, native dances of people. It's what else again? what are the things that well, anything, especially yes, like especially this Linda Bassi, Hilda Bassi, the lady that won, that got the Guinness, that beat the Guinness book, that set the world Guinness Book of Record of 100 hours cooking non-stop for 4 days. Wow, that's fantastic. She's really got strength for 4 days, cooking every hour. Okay, she was only allowed to take rest 5 minutes every hour, or 1 hour every 12 hours. That is something else. I really love. I wish I could have her on my show to actually know how she did that. To know some of the tricks she used in getting herself to actually, you know, endurance. Endurance. Women have endurance. Women have endurance. Men should treat women well because women have endurance. There's something. The truth is, men could be very strong at their heydays, but when they are old, when they start getting old, like their 60s, 70s, 80s, women have become more stronger than the men. So I think men should actually give respect to women, give them more respect, show them more love. There's something I also learned through during the week, especially I was having a conversation with a friend, a much older friend, and he was telling me we're having something about marriage, you know, um, divorces in marriages, why people get divorced, um, why is that people get divorced, what's the root cause, you know, there's certain things. It was a whole wide range of things discussion we're having, and I said to myself, people get married for different reasons. There are different reasons people get married. People get married based on material things. I call them tangible things. People get married based on tangible things. This person is rich. This person is beautiful. This person is tall, dark, handsome. She's got good curves. She's slim. She's got the back and ass. She's got everything. I call those things tangible things. People get married for. Or some people will look at a lady and say they love a lady because of those tangible things. Oh, she's married. She's rich. She's this. She's fine. She's beautiful. People get married because of tangible things. They get married based on tangible things. But I say to myself, it's better to get married based on intangible things. Get married to someone based on intangible things. And what are those intangible things? And what I mean is, those intangible things are like kindness, love, concern. Those are things that are intangible. You can't see them. You can't see those things. If you love someone based on those intangible things, so you love someone because the person is caring. You love someone because the person is kind. You love someone because the person is you know is a good companion. Because the person is those things that you can't see. Now let me buttress what my point. Let me make my point very clear. If you're loving someone because the person is beautiful, or the person is rich, or because the person is tall, or because the person has big boobs or big ass, does it mean that if those things are no more, no one knows how life is. Life is up and down. We no one ever um, have a perfect life. Life is filled with different things. There are different hurdles what everyone faces in life. So if someone if that person you love be based on these tangible things, if those things don't exist anymore, will you still love that person? If that person doesn't have money, if you marry someone because the person has money and the person doesn't have money anymore, will you still love that person? If you marry someone because the person is beauty and the person's beauty fades away, will you still love that person? If you marry someone because the person has big boobs or big ass, when those big boobs and big ass begin to sag, will you still love that person? If that is your reason for loving. If someone is you understand what I'm saying? Or if you marry someone because the person is tall and dark, if that person has an accident and the person is crippled, will you still love that person? But if you're loving someone because the person is kind, even if the person has an accident, or even the person is poor or rich, that person is still kind. These are inbuilt things that are inside the person. It can't be taken away. So even if you're poor, you're still kind. Even if you're rich, you're still kind. Even if you have an accident or you're crippled, you're still kind. So if you're loving someone based on that, I don't think that love will fade away easily. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. Just to think about it. You remember that airplane crash that happened some years back, that Bimbo Dukoya, that woman of Fountain of Life, she lost her life in that plane crash. There was only one lady that actually, one girl. Okay, that plane crash um, was with some students. She died with she passed on with some students in that plane crash. There was only one lady, one girl, a student of that school from Abuja to Port Harcourt, that that her life was saved. She survived that air crash. That girl, I think her name is Oluchi also. That girl, she's a lady now, but when she was a girl, she was very, very beautiful, very pretty girl. But after the crash, but she was the only survivor. After the crash, with the burns and everything, for to see this girl right now, she doesn't look too, with the scars, she doesn't look very, she's not as pretty as she was when she didn't have that accident. So now, if you're going to love someone based on beauty now, if you're to love Oluchi because she was not beautiful, because she was beautiful, if you're to love Oluchi before the air crash because she was beautiful, and now that she has the air crash, after the air crash and the scars and everything, will you stop loving her because of the scars she has? Think about it. So you can see that one of the reasons why we have a lot of divorce in our society today is because of people are getting married or loving people for the wrong reasons. The society has been very corrupt to the extent whereby the values that should be taught in families is beginning to be eroded. Let's say it's completely eroded. The values are eroded, and because these values are eroded, it's really shit. Wow, sorry about that. Because these values are eroded, it's very, very difficult. Because these values are eroded, it will be very, very difficult to have a society that that has good morals. It will be difficult to have a society that has good morals, you know. But there's something I need to point out now. In Japan, in Japan, there was this why are Japanese people, why do they have good morals? Why are their kids, why do they have good morals? Why are they the one of the cleanest people, would I say, in the society, in the world? When I say society, in the world, Can you remember that amongst the nations during international tournaments, when Japanese attend, they are the only country that, like World Cup, Olympics, or anything, they are the only country that, as a team, wherever they gather or wherever they are camping as a team, they always live there. They clean wherever they are camping before they leave. They always have it cleaned, even to the extent that the people that clean those camps or where they reside, they don't need to clean it, because when they leave, they clean up the Japanese athletes or their team. When they clean it up, they leave a thank you card there. And I ask myself, is that amongst the whole, are they built differently? Amongst the whole people in the whole world, why is the culture of Japanese different from others? There's something that they're doing right. So there's something they're doing right from the fundamentals, from their kids. They teach them. It's not even what they teach them in school, but what they are being drilled at home, how the home is, what they teach at the homes, and the schools also enhances what they teach at homes. So they have high good morals in Japan, and that is why, the place is, not that there's no crime there, but you it's the crime is not as much as other countries of the world. I believe it's a model every society, but you can't compare Japan with Nigeria, for instance. Now the crime rate is, you can't compare it at all. So that means there is something that they are doing right. If we are to emulate, or if we are to take a part of them, a part of how the moral life, how the pattern, the structure, what they do to actually make that the society a sane society, a moral society. There's something they actually do right that makes them who they are. So if you were to ask me, good morals have eroded our society, and because it has eroded our society, children, people get married for the wrong reasons because of morals. So we'll be having a lot of discussion on most of these things, and at times it's something it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling because it's something we can't say it doesn't affect us. We don't care about it, but it's something we need to actually point out, find a way or ways by which we can make a little change in our society, create a change, be a change agent in our society. And it's one of those reasons why I have this channel, TATAFO Afrika, to actually use the things that I love, the things that I appreciate, to see how I can make a change in my society. That's immorals and our society. I'm hoping the society will be better someday, when we have good morals, when we have parents teaching our kids the right things, not like now in our society now. Maybe a teacher will flog a child, a parent will come to school and start fighting with the teacher. A teacher that should be bringing up your child in the way they should in a way. So if you're having such a society whereby the parents are the ones going to attack those that are trying to teach children, correct children for their wrongs, that society is, I'm not sure it will be a fruitful one. I'm not sure and it's not by prayers, it's not by fasting and prayers. A lot has to do with our actions. The things we do, the things we say, the things it has to do with our actions. Like I said, what guides us, or what I believe guides us as humans, is true justice and fairness. not what people tell you, not what anyone tells you about the pulpit. Not that I'm antagonizing churches or anything, but religion has really destroyed our society. Religion has destroyed our society, in a very negative way. You know, um, you see people doing things, you know, abnormally. People using religion to deceive people for finance purposes. They use religion to aggrandize, to accumulate wealth. You know, if you're asking about religion, religion should be a way of treating people with treating people well. You don't have this, I have this, I share with you. You know, you're opportuned. You know, just imagine now you're in a church, where we, everyone should be together, to eat together, to share love together. And in a church whereby, for instance, now you have, maybe you come with a Rolls Royce to in your church, and because you're with a Rolls Royce, you're being given a high seat and everything, better seats and everything. They don't even know whether you scammed someone to get that Rolls Royce, whether you stole to go to get that Rolls Royce, whether you use pen or use gun, anything. No one knows how you got accumulated that wealth. All what they see is that you're with the Rolls Royce, and because you're with the Rolls Royce, they give you a high seat in the church. And someone who comes in a keke, dusty keke, and shoes are dusty, they give the person back seat. You can see that there's no fairness in that action. You can't. You're judging someone by their look. And in the house of God, there should be equality. There should be equality. Everybody is equal in the sight of God, not equity. Everybody is equal in the sight of God, because on under our Creator, we are all equal. There's no one bigger, there's no one shorter. Everything depends on the heart. You're being judged by how your heart is. You're being judged by how truthful you are. You're being judged by how just you are. You're being judged by how fair you are, not by your material things. You can see how true justice and fairness you know, is touching every areas of every discussion I'm having. Because in our society today, I believe that, like I said earlier, God is enshrined in these three things. If you're practicing these three things, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whatever you're practicing, whether you're worshiping snake, whether you're worshiping toys, whatever you're doing in this life, let your actions, your thoughts be guided by truth, justice, and fairness. And with that, I believe the society will be a better society. You cannot be treating a child. You cannot be treating a child because the child is not yours. Treating the child anyhow. But if it's your own child, you treat the child well. But you treat another child that is not child yours. You can see there's no fairness. There's no good. Or you want to give your child food. You give your child food in a very clean um, um, plate. But if it's another child that is not yours, you give the child in a dirty plate. It's not. You just don't need it in life. You just don't need it in life. You just don't need it in life at all. And I made mention about having a discussion with one of my friends earlier this week, and we were discussing about marriage, discussing about relationships. And what I was able to deduce from our discussion is tolerance, tolerance, love, love, and what was the last one? The last one is tolerance, love, and I hope it crosses my mind. But what I'm trying to say is this: that if you're going to be with anyone in life, if you're going to be with anyone you want to be in life, or you want to marry anyone, let love that person, and love that person based on intangible things. Let that love for someone be based on intangible things, not based on tangible things, not based on the person being rich, but based on if the person is a nice person. Do you know that there are some people, there are some men, eh, that they've they will marry a lady, they will marry a lady because of the way she treats others, because of the way she treats people that are not in her status. There's some men that do that. They will, they will watch you watching a lady and see how she's treating others, treating them well, treating those who are maybe like in your office now, you have cleaners, office assistants, the way you treat them, you have the gate man, the way you treat them. A man can just be watching you on see how you treat them, and that will be the reason the man will propose to you without you having 6 months dating, 6 months, this 1 year. A man can just see you and observe you and watch how you treat others, and that will be the reason why he wants to get married to you. It happens, and it's not like you're pretending that that's just the way he's watched you over time. That's how you do, and that's just the reason why he wants to get married to you. So it's all about beauty. So it's all about character. Character is very, very basic in anything that we are doing. Character is very, very important. So someone getting married to someone based on good character, you know. So if you're loving someone, like I said, let it be based on intangible things. You're loving someone because of the person has a good heart. Person You're loving someone because the person is kind. You're loving someone because the person is generous. You're loving someone because the person has a good heart. Let that be that. That's number one. Then secondly, tolerance. One has to be tolerant. No one is perfect. As much as you're married to someone who is loving, who's caring. No one is perfect. Someone can be loving and caring, but the person has a gray side to that person. That person might be dirty. That's where tolerance comes in. No one is perfect in this world. Nobody is perfect. Everyone has some sort of lapses in each other. But that's where tolerance comes in. In marriage, you need to be able to tolerate someone. You need to be able to tolerate someone. Tolerance, and that is where imperfection, you tolerate one's imperfection, just as someone tolerates you. Okay, I think I can remember. Um, Tolerance, that is bending. Yeah, the word he used was bend. You bend. At times in life, you need to bend. That's being tolerance. Bend for someone because you love someone based on intangible things. You're willing to bend over certain things. You're willing to absorb over certain things. But if you're loving someone because the person is rich or the person is fine, you know, it's a false start to any relationship. If you were to ask me, I think it's a false start to any relationship. So bending, loving the person first, and bending, which is tolerance to some. I'm forgetting the third one. There's a third one that while we were discussing, that really struck me while we were discussing, this week. I hope I remember before um, this live. So basically about life, the channel will be talking basically about life issues about life. How we can address it. You know, you know, with truth, justice, and fairness. You know, in this life we are faced with ups and downs. There's no there's no one's life that is perfect. No one's life is perfect. But God has given us the grace, to overcome. And one thing is this. Um, when a baby grows, a baby begins to walk. No, not walk. Sorry, a baby drinks milk. From drinking of milk, begins to eat semi-solid food. From semi-solid food, begins to eat hard food. life is a process. That way the person becomes that way the person becomes gets experience. So in times of difficulties, when you're faced with so many challenges about life, take it as you're getting an experience over something. Get it that you're getting an experience over something. There's something my father always taught me. My father taught me something about life. He told me that be hopeful. Always be hopeful. At the same time, prepare your mind for the worst that might happen. That's what my father has taught me as a person. That be hopeful. He says this, that he's hopeful, yeah, he's always hopeful, but at the same time, he prepares his mind for the worst that might happen. When you prepare your mind for the worst that might happen in life, when that thing or that palatable event happens in your life, it won't catch you unawares. You won't be surprised. It won't take you unawares. Yes, as much as you're hopeful in anything you're doing, also have your mind prepared for the worst that might come. That way, when the worst comes, you'll be able to shelve. There'll be an absorber. Let me use an example for this. Assuming, for instance, now you want to travel. Let's say you want to travel. You have a visa, for instance. Now you have a visa to travel abroad and everything, and you're going to, maybe you're called for an appointment, maybe the next day or so. You have an appointment the next day, and while you're moving on the road and everything, you are so happy about going for your visa appointment to travel out. Maybe you got a visa lottery or anything, and maybe, for instance, now while you're in the bus or in your car, someone comes and bashes you or brushes you, or the bus you're in, the conductor now begins to hold you ransom, or dirties your clothes or something of that sort. Because you have an appointment, maybe that appointment is by 8 o'clock, for instance, now, or maybe 9 o'clock, for instance, now, and time is against you, and this event is just happening around you. Maybe your car is being brushed by someone, and you're on your lane. Your car is being brushed by someone that's from nowhere, and you're in your right of way, and you have an appointment. You're running out of time. Will you stop and start fighting with such person? And it's an interview where you need to be well coordinated. Will you stop to start having an argument, or start fighting with the conductor, or start fighting with the driver, because maybe you feel you're right in that particular incident? At times in life, there are certain things that are just not necessary. That's more reason why that have your mind prepared. Once your mind is prepared, hope for the best and prepare your mind for the worst that might come. So when you're in such kind of situation, you won't stop and start fighting, because by the time you get, maybe something happens, by the time you get to the appointment and everything, you're so scruffy, looking rugged and everything. It's not necessary, because what has happened is just, and if you check it out, Joe, there's a brighter thing ahead of you. So this is how, like where I work, I attend to people. I attend nature of what I do as where I work. I attend to customers, and how I live my life every day, which I believe helped me, and I feel you could learn from it, is this. Every morning, because I attend, it's more like a customer service, because I help, because I'm a system administrator, like I said earlier. I help people with their systems, find new solution, innovative solutions on how to make the company's process work better. And at the same time, I have to attend to customers' issues. Every day when I wake up in the morning, I have my mind, you know, prepared. I have my mind prepared, thinking that someone is going to get me annoyed that day. I have my mind saying to myself that today someone is going to get me annoyed, you know. So if I know someone's going to get me annoyed, what will I now be angry when somebody gets me annoyed? That's the mindset I have every day, because I know that every day someone's going to get me annoyed, or someone's going to say something pissing. A customer is going to say something nasty. A staff is going to say something unpleasant. When you have that mindset that okay, what's going to happen, and you start off the day with such, when such things happen, when you encounter such things in that day, it will make sense you getting annoyed, because it's like you've foreseen what is going to happen for the day, and there won't be any need of you getting annoyed over what you've already known, what you've prepared your mind that might happen. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I believe with time, as we interact more with people on the show, I will express certain views about life and how to take life. I believe would help you not to make you agitated, not to make you annoyed, not to a lot of people that commit suicide, these days, because of issues about life, because either they were not prepared for it, and that's why they take their lives. I think I've spoken for over an hour, and in time, when we have more guests, I will express myself better, through conversations. And please like and share, and give me a thumbs up, and also watch my cooking sessions too. I believe you will learn a lot of things. Thank you so much for being with me for this hour. Thank you. Have a wonderful night rest. Bye.